A playground is meant for fun and laughter, not heartache and loss. Right near the basketball court at Woodbridge Oval in the Bronx is where 14-year-old Angel Mendoza took his last breath. His father only speaks Spanish. He says his son did not deserve to die this way.
It starts with a sunset, the kind of hazy, late summer evening in New York City where the air is thick with humidity and the promise of a cool night. It was a beautiful scene, a typical Tuesday evening, but beauty can be a cruel disguise, because what happened next was a crime so brutal, so senseless, it shocked an entire city. A group of teenagers, a park, a verbal dispute that escalated into a violent attack captured on a smartphone. But the true horror of this story isn't just in the violence itself, but in the sickening randomness of it all. The victim wasn't even the intended target. He was just a boy, a ninth grader, caught in a tide of violence he had nothing to do with. He put his hands up, a plea for peace, but his attackers were out for blood. And what did this boy, this innocent bystander, do to deserve such a fate? Absolutely nothing. Subscribe to Grimvault so you never miss the next case. You're already inside, and there's no way out. A new story drops every week, straight to you, before anyone else dares to open it. This is the story of Angel Mendoza and how a young life became collateral damage in a brutal gang assault. To understand the tragedy, you have to understand the boy. Angel Mendoza was not a street kid. He was a son, a brother, a friend. His family, who had moved from the Dominican Republic a decade ago, saw the Norwood neighborhood of the Bronx as a place for a fresh start. For them, Williamsbridge Oval Playground was a symbol of that new life. It was where his father, Miguel, taught him to play basketball, where they spent countless family afternoons. Angel was a music lover with a passion for reggaeton and rock and roll. He had big dreams of becoming a singer one day, a vision of a future filled with rhythm and success. He was, by all accounts, a kind and friendly kid, a lovely, really calm person, as his father would later describe him. This isn't just a story about a crime. It's a story about a life full of potential, a potential that was tragically extinguished. But life and adolescence is complicated. In the months leading up to his death, something changed. His father noticed a shift in his son. Starting in May, Angel, a formerly good student who attended MS 80, began to skip school. He fell in with what his father called a wayward crowd. This is a heartbreakingly common story, isn't it? The pull of friends, the desire to fit in, the allure of a different kind of life can be overwhelming for a teenager. For Angel's parents, this shift was a source of deep worry. They did everything they could think of to steer him back on the right path. His father even resorted to hiding his shoes to keep him from going out. But Angel was strong-headed and he always found a way. This is where the story becomes truly tragic. His parents, feeling like they were losing their son, reached out to every official channel they could. Family court, the police, and even the Administration for Children's Services. But they were all told the same thing. Because Angel was a minor and hadn't committed a crime, there was nothing they could do. They were left to face this crisis alone, a family with a son they loved, and a sense of growing powerlessness. This is a crucial element of the story. It speaks to a profound systemic failure. A failure that left a vulnerable boy with nowhere to turn. As a human being, a parent, a neighbor, it's impossible to hear this and not feel a knot in your stomach, to know that a family desperately asked for help and was turned away, only for their worst fears to come true, is a tragic and infuriating reality. So, what exactly happened on that fateful night? The details, as they've emerged, are chilling. Angel was at the park with a female friend and another male teen. The male teen, unbeknownst to Angel, had been in an earlier fight with a rival group. A local resident had even noticed a group of people who seemed to be agitating others in the park earlier in the day and had reported it to the Parks Department. Law enforcement sources believe the attackers were members of the notorious Trinitarios gang, a group whose territory includes the Williamsbridge Oval. The motive for the attack was not a personal vendetta against Angel, but a revenge plot against the male teen he was with. When the group of 8 teenagers approached them, Angel's male friend fled, leaving Angel caught in the crossfire. The attack itself was a 15-minute brawl that started as a verbal argument and quickly turned violent. The full horror of the attack was captured on a bystander's phone, which would later be used as evidence. Angel, with no understanding of the underlying conflict, put up his hands in a gesture of surrender, but the attackers were not interested in a fair fight or even in the truth. They were out for blood, and Angel, an innocent bystander, was an easy target. According to court documents, the attackers, led by two 18-year-olds, Andrew Ansa and Jordan Williams, pistol-whipped Angel in the face with a Taurus 9mm before repeatedly punching and kicking him. One witness said, Angel was on the ground and his face was all red and all his teeth were gone. The brutal beating was followed by a stabbing, with Angel being stabbed once in the chest and once in the abdomen with a sharp object. This was not a fight, this was an execution. It's almost impossible for me to process this level of violence. The attackers were so enraged, so desperate to assert dominance, that they completely overlooked the fact that Angel was not their target. It's a testament to the mindset of gang violence, where a perceived slight against one person can lead to the brutal murder of an innocent. It's a mentality that is not only terrifying, but utterly devoid of humanity. This tragedy, and the senseless nature of it, is a chilling echo of another brutal crime committed by the same gang. In 2018, 15-year-old Lesandro Jr. Guzman-Feliz was murdered in a case of mistaken identity. The surveillance footage from a Bronx bodega where Jr. sought refuge tells a story of pure desperation. The video shows him running into the store, frantically trying to jump over the counter, seeking any kind of safety he could find. But the bodega owner, Modesto Cruz, appearing confused and afraid, seems to chase him away from behind the counter. This horrifying moment, caught on camera, shows Junior being denied sanctuary, his last chance at survival. He was then dragged out of the store and brutally attacked with machetes, a moment of horrific violence that shocked the entire city. The image of a terrified boy being denied sanctuary left an indelible mark on the city's conscience. The violence ended as quickly as it began, with the attackers fleeing the scene. Left behind were two victims, Angel and a 17-year-old boy who had also been stabbed but was expected to survive. Angel's friend, Yasmin Rosario, found him on the ground clinging to life, his last words a desperate plea for help. He was rushed to Jacobi Medical Center, but it was too late. He was pronounced dead just before 9 p.m. The hospital visit was a waking nightmare for his family. They had been told he was in a brawl, but the truth was far worse. His father, Miguel, had to identify his son's body, a moment that no parent should ever have to endure. He described the bruising on Angel's face, his broken teeth, a gut-wrenching confirmation of the brutality. When Miguel's wife called him to tell him their son had been stabbed, he said he went crazy and searched several hospitals before learning what had truly happened. The community was left in shock. The park, a symbol of family and fun, was now a crime scene, stained with blood. A makeshift memorial of candles and flowers quickly grew under a park bench, a somber tribute to the boy who was gone. The tragedy resonated deeply, especially with the mother of Junior Guzman-Feliz. She told a reporter that when she saw the news about Angel, it felt like she was reliving her own son's death. This shared grief highlights the cyclical and pervasive nature of gang violence in these communities. Residents spoke out about the need for more police patrols and cameras in the park, and a young person from the community said they felt they had to protect themselves. A young woman interviewed by the Norwood News poignantly expressed the community's frustration with the lack of police action, saying, "We're just tired, bro. We're just tired, we're just over it." She went on to say that the community feels abandoned, that their voices begin to crack and we get tired. This sentiment speaks volumes about the disconnect between law enforcement and the communities they are meant to serve and protect. It's a feeling of betrayal, of being left to fend for themselves in the face of escalating violence. The arrests of Andrew Ansa, Jordan Williams, and the two juvenile defendants brought some measure of justice, but it can never bring Angel back. His bicycle, a symbol of his youth and freedom, remains parked outside his family's apartment, a heartbreaking reminder of the life he will never live. His parents, who moved here for a better life, are now left to navigate the profound and senseless grief of a son lost to violence. A GoFundMe was even started to help the family, with the goal of raising funds to send Angel's body back to the Dominican Republic. This is the profound and senseless legacy of violence. A family's dreams are shattered, a community is left to mourn, and a promising young life is extinguished forever. The Williamsbridge Oval Playground, once a symbol of community and family, is now forever marked by the tragedy of Angel Mendoza's death. If you want to stay up to date on cases like Angel's and help us shine a light on the stories that need to be told, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to Grim Vault, and click the notification bell so you never miss an episode.